All right, we are live now with a little post-game show from the Annie Frey Show. We just wrapped up our Monday noon to 3 show, and if you're joining us now, we're very grateful that you've decided to come on and spend a little extra time with us because this is exciting for me. I'm excited to talk to a friend who also has been a sponsor of the Annie Frey Show, and we're going to talk about something that a lot of people are paying attention to right now, which is the housing market, and a lot of people who are looking to find the house that they want. It's kind of hard to find one that's on the market right now. Mike Needles joining me now with C.A. Jones. You can go online to cajonesinc.com if you want to check out a little bit more of what C.A. Jones does. But we're just going to talk about buying houses, building houses today, what options are available, why you might want to consider building when maybe before you wouldn't have considered building just because the market is so crazy. So Mike, welcome to this little chat that we're going to have. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to have you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
So, when I have walked through some C.A. Jones builds, I am always amazed. The first thing is that the variety of what C.A. Jones offers from a house build standpoint is pretty widespread. There's something for everybody there, but also the utilization of space, I think, is fantastic. I want to encourage people who are watching right now as people come on here and start to gather with us. If you have any questions whatsoever that you would like me or Mike to answer about building homes or about the market or what Mike is seeing out there in the wild right now with real estate, ask the questions in the live chat on our Facebook stream, or you can watch us on the Annie Frey YouTube channel as well. Post your questions in there, and we'll get them answered as we go. So, Mike, right now, I mean, I've talked about this a bit on the air, but you are seeing it firsthand. You were trying to talk me into selling my house in Madison County. You're like, you need to sell that now. And I know, but like, what do you do next? There isn't a lot of inventory out there. Are a lot of people considering building for the first time?
Oh, yeah. We get a lot more customers who are looking to build who never thought that they could before. Even our realtor partners who never really thought about, introducing their clients to new construction have had to do so just because of the lack of inventory.
Yeah.
And then luckily, we've been able to educate them and show them that the process is actually a lot easier than a lot of people think it is.
You guys really make it simple. In something that's an incredibly complicated process, you guys make it very simple to kind of go through the process step by step with a ton of options at C.A. Jones. Talk to me a little bit about what people, I mean, if you can find a house out there right now that's on the market and you can get a winning offer, more power to you. I've looked, because if we were to sell our house, where are we going? I said we could live in a tent. That would be fine with me. But I got a baby coming later this week, so But what are some of the things what are some of the perks that people might not think about in the, buying a home that's on the market right now versus I get to build my own home. I get to make these choices for myself. What are some options that people might not have thought about that you guys offer?
Yeah, a lot of what we're doing now that we didn't do a couple years ago is, of course, solar. In the video behind you, you started out with one of our homes that had solar on it. So that's been a really big change in our market the last 2 or 3 years. Just being able to not just reduce that carbon footprint of the home, which buyers are more aware of, but being able to introduce it like we have at a really affordable price, so that you actually are able to get a return on that investment just from the day you close, just because of the way that we've been able to do it. Space. So for a while there, homes were actually trending to smaller and a little bit smaller houses. People were looking for a little bit smaller space. As a matter of fact, a lot of buyers are really looking more urban. And then COVID kind of changed all that. Now buyers are looking for more space. They want, full finished basements. They want larger ranches on the main floor. They want bigger backyards. So it's been a complete 180 almost in the last year and a half, thanks to the effects of COVID on the marketplace. So we've seen a lot of that. So home offices, libraries, things that, places for your kids to have homeschooling.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody ever really asked about before have been big the last year and a half.
So you guys have a lot of options for people who start their build with you. Do you have stuff right now on the market? You have stuff that is coming soon that you want to make people aware of if they're looking for a house right now?
Yeah, we on our website we have our express homes, which are homes that we actually have that should be completed within the next 30 to 60 days that a buyer can move into.
That's cool. So I'm going to show here. Let's see here. No, let me mute this. So hold on. This is not doing what I wanted it to do. And okay, there we go. Do you hear me feeding back right now? Or is it just me? Now I've lost you. I want to ask you a bit about you talked about solar and how popular that is right now, and what people are interested in, and why they have decided to go to solar. I mean, obviously there is a push for green energy that exists outside of our world, but now we have the option. We can put this on your home. What kind of benefits to the audience do you have there?
Yeah, some of the biggest benefits to doing residential solar like we do is, of course, just reducing your power bill. So it has the, extra benefit of reducing your carbon footprint, that your impact on the environment is smaller. But the direct impact to the buyer is a smaller power bill each month. So we have varying size of solar systems that we put on our homes. That we do roof mounted systems, all knocking off certain percentages of the bill, all the way up to possibly, eliminating your bill entirely, as far as what you use each month.
So when people go through, what kind of buyers do you encounter? Is it all over the spectrum where people know exactly what they want from the moment they walk in? Or are they people who, when you guys walked me in, I think it was in a Columbia home maybe that you guys walked me through, and in the basement you had all these different options, and they're right there in front of your face, where you can go into the house and see something you've done before, but you can touch and feel the different types of spindles you can put on your staircase, or the roof texture, or all sorts of things. Tell me about the process of, if I've been looking to buy on the market and there's nothing there, and now I'm considering buying for the first time, what kind of undertaking is that, and what does C.A. Jones do to help buyers get through that big process, fun process, but big process of picking out the big things and the little things?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, building a new home is stressful, so I'm definitely not going to say it's not. It's a big investment for everybody. It's a lot of decisions that have to be made. But one of the things that we've tried to do to streamline it is we actually opened up a new design center. It's in Fairview Heights. It's close to 159 on Lincoln Trail. And we have 3 different kitchens out here, vignettes. We have a fireplace and a living room vignette. So we have a lot of options that people sometimes don't even think of. Like, we put a little open spindle staircase going up the wall, but then we added lights running up the stairs, because a lot of people don't think about that, but it's really useful at night. You don't want to have to turn on all the main lights, especially if you got kids sleeping.
Yes.
Those low lights just on the stairs. I didn't even think about them either when I built my house, and my electrician brought it up. So I love those, in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So the design centers really help. There's so many options and features, and the buyers are able to look at it and touch it and ask questions. So that's been a big investment on our part, and it's really helped the buyers.
How much breadth of choice does the buyer have when they come in to build a home? Like, what's the process like? Do they come in and say, we need 3 beds and 2 baths, and then you start from there? Or do you have them fill something out? Like, how does that process go?
Yeah, usually it starts with meeting one of our home specialists, and it's every buyer's unique. How they want to live their life is unique, and that's always where you want to start. Is it, a lot of time at home with the family? You want a game room? You want to be able to do this stuff? Do you want to have high-end finishes inside your home, just so it feels like you're at a hotel, when you're at home, because it's a getaway from work? Or is it more of a utilitarian? Hey, I just want the basics in my house because I plan on traveling and doing that. So every buyer is unique, and that's definitely where the home specialists kind of work with them to figure that out. And then we can, go ahead and show them options and send them down a direction that sounds more like what they're doing. And that also helps streamline things for the buyer. So instead of having to show you all these different options we have, when we hear the feedback from you on what you're really looking for, we can already start to narrow that down for you. And that makes it less overwhelming, when we already have some options that we already know you're looking for.
So you talked a bit about what you can do for the buyer, and we can get back to that. And if people are watching and they want to post questions here on our Facebook page or the live that's taking place on our YouTube channel, you can just go ahead and comment in the live chat. We can ask those. You can also comment them afterwards, and we'll keep an eye on those questions as they come up, because this will continue to live on there in both of those places after we get done doing the live broadcast, which if you're watching on Monday, June 7th at 3:40 p.m., that's right now. But let me ask you a little bit about C.A. Jones yourself, the community that you're in. I know that you guys make a very concerted effort to give back to the community that you're building these homes for. What's the C.A. Jones story and the distinction?
Well, C.A. Jones was founded in 1995 by Chris Jones. He's the owner and president of the company. He started building homes he actually started out, believe it or not, before that as a developer in Missouri in the Wentzville area. Mm-hmm. But he's from Illinois. This is his hometown. So he started out building homes at C.A. Jones in O'Fallon, Illinois. There was, I believe, 10 foundations that had already been put in the ground, and then that builder had gone out of business. So Chris was able to come in, acquire those foundations, and design homes to fit them, because they were already in the ground. And that's where he started. And then he moved to Waterloo, Illinois. That was one of our first developments where we actually, bought the land and developed the land and put the homes in. So did that. And then we moved into the Dupo area in the Metro East. And just over the years, as we continue to grow, we just kind of grew back north into the O'Fallon, Shiloh, and now the Glen Carbon, Troy, and Bethalto markets. So it's kind of the history of coming back to the roots for Chris. And then as a company, we've continued to, we just believe in building homes. So we were always a first-time home buyer builder. That's kind of what we thought ourselves always as, and we still try to be that. But we've just kind of, opened up the portfolio a little bit to build, second move-up homes and down, homeowners that are looking to downsize.
Yeah.
We're still a production home builder. We're not custom homes, but we do build that variety of homes.
And then you have so many examples. People, if you've been in the Metro East, you've driven past the C.A. Jones house. I promise you. I've been in at least 3 of them in various areas in Glen Carbon, in Shiloh, I think was the one that I went in. And then was it Columbia was the third one that I was in. And they were all so different, and they all had such different accommodations, which really showed me how much breadth you have on being able to, like you said, they're not custom homes, but there's a lot of choice that is available, and there's a lot of different kinds of models that people can choose from. When it comes to giving back into the community, first of all, when I teased you on the air a little bit before on the show, I was talking about how you have this whole host of kids in your house, and you've adopted children, and it just touches my heart how much you have shared your story with me. And I stress to people that when I work with people here on the Annie Frey Show, I want to make sure people understand I'm working with good people. And Mike, you are that way. Chris is that way. Stephanie, who we've been working with, absolutely. And so many of the other people at C.A. Jones in this community, living in this community, but also giving back to it. The C.A. Jones story, when I talked to Chris before, who is salt of the earth, a hardworking individual, talking about starting in 1995, means he went through the whole, I bought my first home in 2007, which was quite a time to be buying a home, I might add. Granted, it was from an estate and needed a ton of work. But you've gone through some crazy things in the real estate market over the course of time. You've seen some things, experienced some things, and Chris has weathered the storm. How does this real estate market right now fit into the highs, the lows, the roller coaster ride that is real estate and building homes with C.A. Jones?
Yeah, it's definitely a hot market. It's not 2007. That's a good thing. 2007 homes were being built. Buyers were buying them, but it was a lot of, I'm not a lender, but stated income. Maybe people were buying second and third homes as investments. But this current market comes from demand, and the fact that builders after 2008 honestly kind of quit producing enough homes, and here we are over a decade later of undersupplying.
So it's kind of connected in a way.
It was a reaction by home builders and really banks to 2008. Hey, we don't want to be left with inventory again. What if there's another correction? Because for home builders, that recession lasted a long time.
Yeah.
It wasn't over in 2009 or 10. It lasted into the 2010s. So that's a big part, of where we are in the market now, just the real lack of inventory, just because homes weren't built in the quantities that they should have been over the last decade. So that's kind of what's driven it. And then you got all the COVID related stuff between supply disruptions. Literally every day we can get a call saying, okay, we can't get these cabinets anymore. Or if we can, they're 3.5 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got to go back to buyers and say, hey, we can't get these, but we can get these, so would you like to come in and make a selection change? That way we can keep your home on track. And it's been like that all over the place. It's been shortages on siding, shortages on lumber, shortages on shingles. We've just over the last year and a half, it's crazy how many different supply chain disruptions we've had to really fight with. And it's a constant battle. And then prices are also going up just because of that tight inventory of suppliers. I mean, we had a hardest time getting shingles because they had that freeze in Texas, and a lot of the materials manufactured in the shingles came from there, the granules. So they couldn't get those, so
Yeah.
then there was the strip that they actually shoot the nail through in shingles that they couldn't get those. So then those became a problem. And now there's a certain chemical that goes in siding. So certain dark colors of siding require this chemical, and they can't get it because of stuff going on in Texas. That's where it happens to be made again. So it's definitely a different market than '08, which was really, again, driven by oversupply.
Yeah.
This market is driven by demand by buyers.
I think that's a really important distinction to make too, that what we experienced in 2008 with the fast and furious market that was going, prices on houses being really high, the push behind that is very different than the push that is right now on some of these things that probably are driving people from looking for what they want on the market. It's not there, and they're considering their options. And if it's going to take a while to get into a house anyway, to find the right thing, or maybe to have the market to come back down a little bit, it's a really good idea to consider a build. It could be an affordable reaction, especially considering the way prices are going right now in the market. If you've got a question that you would like to ask us right now on our Facebook page, Annie Frey Show Facebook page, or the Annie Frey YouTube channel, feel free to comment it here. Don said, any idea, Mike, of when those shortages might balance out? Any light at the end of the tunnel, or is it getting any better, even incrementally so?
I'd say that the futures look good. Probably by this fall, we'll start seeing more supply chains getting back in line with demand as COVID restrictions ease in other places around the country. I think that's going to help a lot. But demand is still strong, and a lot of businesses like lumber mills, honestly, after 2008 just shut down. So then as demand has picked back up, that infrastructure wasn't there to support that demand. And that takes time. And then COVID didn't help because then they couldn't run their factories 24/7. They had someone test positive. We had factories that had to be shut down for 10 or 12 days while they were cleaned and retested last year. So I also think as we come out of the COVID restrictions, that we'll see more production able to take place.
Yeah, I think that's something. It is definitely a domino effect that will have to occur. Like you were talking about with, it's not like I need a roof. Well, a roof is comprised of a bunch of different things, and you need to be able to have access to all those different things in order to put the roof on. But hopefully, as these restrictions get pulled back across the country, and especially in some of the big states that manufacture a lot of things that we're seeing, even Illinois and California pull back on some of that stuff. I think hopefully it rapidly starts to come back, but like you're saying, the demand is still strong. The demand is still there. When people come to you, if you have people coming to you who were looking to purchase a house and can't find it on the market, is there a consistency of the kind of house that they're looking for when they come to C.A. Jones, or is it across the board?
Yeah, well, it's ranches. So what's crazy is 5 years ago, we would consider ourselves a 2-story home builder.
Yeah.
We built a lot of 2-stories, but we build them, but it's not near the percent. It's probably less than 15% of our homes now. Generally, they're ranches now. So ranches with finished basement space. That's been huge since COVID. Early last year, year before that, finished basement space was kind of a hit or miss thing. But now it's pretty much the majority of buyers are wanting that extra space as well to get that square footage. And it's usually living rooms and playrooms and home schooling areas and offices that they want down in the basement.
What kind of square footage? Because I being a kid of the 90s, everybody had the 2-story 3-bed 4-bed in suburbia here, with the oak cabinets and the oak floors and everything. I can see it now. Wait a second, it's mostly my house.
Grabbing your kitchen, I think.
Yeah, we did paint
Yeah.
we did paint the cabinets white. The countertops in my house still leave a bit to be desired. But what kind of square footage can you get in a ranch home with a finished basement? What kind of living space can somebody get out of that?
Yeah, well, generally speaking, our buyers are anywhere from 1,500 square feet on the main floor for a ranch up to about 2,000 square feet.
Wow.
That's the range that we have. And then in the basement, they're finishing anywhere from 700 square feet to 1,200 square feet.
So you said 2,000 on the main floor up to, and 1,200 max so you're talking, that's a big house.
Big house, yeah, 30-something square feet. We're seeing a lot of those on our ranches now, and especially in the Troy and Glen Carbon markets, actually.
Yeah, and so if you're bed, bathroom accommodations in that kind of a house, what do people get?
It's 3 bedrooms generally on the main floor, or 4, like you said earlier, 2 baths on the main floor on the ranches, and then we're seeing the home office kind of being finished as a bedroom in the basement. So we always make sure we have that egress window. And then a bathroom down there. So we're looking 3-4 bedrooms, 5 with the basement, and then 2 baths on the main floor, 1 in the basement.
And so if you're somebody who maybe doesn't have a big family yet, or maybe you're a retiree and empty nester, some of the houses that I walked through, definitely one of them had an unfinished basement, and that was the way it was being purchased. So I would imagine that saves a bit of money. If you're looking to get into a house right now, have the unfinished basement with the rough-ins and everything. Is that an easy thing to implement?
Yeah. I mean, our basements come already with that rough-in and an egress window for a future bedroom, so it's kind of prepared for that, ready for you to finish it later. That's just one of our standard build features. And then, but yeah, it's simple for you to come back and finish later.
Yeah. Talk to me about some of the other features. We did talk a little bit about solar that is offered with the house. Tell me about other things that even those like the idea of the lights going up the stairs. Like for me, that's a huge deal, especially if you're trying to tiptoe up the stairs and you're doing everything you can not to wake up the house.
Yes.
Those are neat features that in a build, especially in the price range that you guys offer, which is a very affordable price range for people who are looking to get into a home. What are some of those other features that people might be interested in accessing that maybe they wouldn't have thought of?
Yeah, the features that we put like behind the walls, just that overall energy efficiency. We do that. It's sealing the studs and sealing the bottom plates, and it's all technical stuff, but things that we do to seal up the house before the drywall even goes up in order to make the home a little bit tighter. Mm-hmm. Making the home tighter means you have less humid, inefficient air coming in from the outside while you're running your home, which makes it easier to cool and heat your home during the different seasons. Lifetime basement waterproof warranty. So we put that coating, that poly coating on our basements that give you a lifetime waterproof. And it's actually transferable too. So when you sell your home after we build it for you, that lifetime can be transferred to that next buyer. So that helps you out on that resale market too. Our homes do come with 10-year structural warranties. Warranties are always important. And those are actually insured through a third party and administered through a third party. So there's a lot of peace of mind in a lot of the ways that we build, just standard. And then some of our other standard features include the little things that buyers like can lights in their kitchen, under cabinet lighting under their cabinets. We like to put granite in most of our homes. That's what buyers are looking for. The LVP flooring, the waterproof flooring, has really been the rage. You get that waterproof flooring, because I know my kids spill water, spill something. There
are fluids everywhere.
Yes. I don't even question where they came from, but so that's been a big thing. And kind of the latest trend that we're seeing, it's really in the kitchen cabinets, like blue cabinets and all these colors, as opposed to the old maple and the old oak that we had in the late early 2000s. And then Then that kind of transitioned into the cherries. That was the biggest thing. And then we kind of went into the blacks, and they're still around in the dark colors. But now we're seeing pops of color, greens and blues, and it's really neat. You know, you might do an island in a blue and then all the wall cabinets in a white. So it's kind of neat to see. I love seeing what customers come up with on their color selections. Some other things that we're seeing a lot of is electric fireplaces, just to kind of give you that ambience of mood lighting that the fireplace can provide, not necessarily the heat, that a gas fireplace gives, but we're seeing a lot more of that too.
That's interesting. When I was in the Columbia house, I think, was it Columbia or Waterloo?
I think it was the Waterloo house. Yep.
Waterloo. Okay. Yeah. I was at the Waterloo, and C.A. Jones is all over the Metro East, north to south. If you're interested in seeing these homes, they have ones that you still have ones that people can walk through, right? Model homes.
Yeah. Well, we have their spec homes that we use and they get completed. That's one of the changes that with COVID, we weren't allowed to have model homes open. So we ended up kind of selling those and then opening the design center to where we brought all these options and everything into one central location. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that I remember when I was walking through that Waterloo home and talking to you guys about was the way you work with buyers to make sure that the buyer is at the center of that transaction. And I just remember, listening to some stories, some anecdotes of people who are coming in to buy a house and they wanted this, but their budget was that. And the way you were able to encourage people to say, if you want a little extra square footage, maybe it's on your garage. Maybe you want a little extra space in your garage. That's going to be something that's going to last a lot longer. You can upgrade your countertops down the line if you want to, or you could upgrade your flooring or whatever it is down the line and be able to, because you're not going to like drop the wall off your garage and expand your garage at the time. You need to do that at the point of building. Just the working with the customer to make sure that the things that they don't think of down the road, you've thought about it. You guys have done it. You're the pros at it, and making sure that the buyer is at the center of that conversation. I mean, how many homes have you built, and how many customers have you worked with, and that help navigate through this process, which is daunting to say the least, and stressful because it's a big investment. How do you work through that process of helping people make good decisions for their future?
Absolutely. Yeah. In the Metro East, we've built and closed over 800 homes. So, we, like I told you when we met that time, if it's something structural, let us do it. You can always come back and change your countertops later or change your flooring later. But if it's a structural change, go ahead, let us do it. Especially with interest rates as low as they are right now.
Money's cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, money's cheap right now. I mean, it's better to add that kind of stuff to your home now because it's something you can't add later, or it'd be extremely cost prohibitive to add later. And then you can always upgrade your finishes over time. But there's certain trade-offs. I like to say, if you really want that third car garage, let's add that to the home now because you can't really do it later. And especially with the way interest rates are right now, it's the cost of a pizza a month, on your mortgage. So you give up one pizza a month and you got that third car garage.
Yeah.
One meal at the pizza place. So
maybe you just get a Jack's frozen pizza.
That's right.
Although I love Jack's. Jack's is my favorite. I have some comments here from Chris Jones on the Facebook page, and he's saying FHA VA builder and also guaranteed price. What can you talk to me about those two things, especially the guaranteed price one? Because this is a great feature that you get if you become a buyer at C.A. Jones.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, obviously, because of prices, because lumber is so out of control, I mean, we are able, because of our volume in the Metro East and our long history with our suppliers, to kind of negotiate pricing and lock it in a little bit better. And so our contracts are guaranteed price. We enter into a contract with our buyers, and if lumber goes up, we don't pass that cost along to our buyer. We just don't think that that's necessarily fair to them. It's our job as the experts to kind of look at the future and price our homes knowing what lumber is and should be while we build your home. So we definitely don't want you to be surprised by an invoice, by a price change. So with us, the only way the price changes on the home is if our homeowners ask for a change and then they get a price in advance and they approve it via a change order. That's the only way that our prices change. Otherwise, when we sign that contract, that's a guaranteed price. And then we are a VA approved builder, and we do build USDA and FHA homes. So those are all different funding, mechanisms for buyers that are out there that reduces their down payment requirements.
That's fantastic. Joe on the YouTube's page here is saying he was in the waterproofing and the egress business, and that lifetime waterproof warranty is very strong. I mean, CA Jones works really hard to give every possible comfort to the buyer to know that when you're going through this process, because like you're saying with the lifetime or with the guaranteed price, excuse me, anytime you have somebody come into your home, you just kind of have this anticipation, like if you're fixing something, like, okay, this is the price they gave me, but they're going to run into some things along the way. That's very stressful. And I think in a lot of ways, it really pushes back on people even going into the process of having some maintenance done on their home because they don't want to go through the rigmarole. It's a very strong tenet of CA Jones to be so committed to giving those comforts and those assurances to their buyers. And so that when you go through that build, you have a confidence about you that this process is going to be, you're buying what you've been sold, and you've been sold what you're going to be buying.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, we don't like change orders. We don't like making changes. You don't
want Karen on the phone every day going, no, wait a second, I said this. No, wait a second, I said that.
Yeah. Our sales are trained to meet with the buyer, find out really what they're looking for. Let's get everything down up front. Here's the price up front. We price it all out. The buyer knows what they're getting. And that's how we like to do it. Obviously, we will make changes if buyers request them, but that's not our preference. We prefer not to. We like to, and it makes it easier to produce the home too, as a production builder. If we know upfront what we're doing, what we're ordering, we can order those cabinets soon enough. We can order that siding soon enough so that we're not affected as much when there is a supply disruption down the road, because we got our orders in 2 months ago. So that's one of the benefits to not making changes. We're able to mitigate some of that stuff.
So if somebody's looking here to maybe just start a conversation about building a home, maybe they weren't originally thinking build, but now with the market being the way it is, I mean, with such limited inventory, when you compare the cost investment to, especially right now with some of the homes that are being listed right now, the price to pay on them versus what you can invest in a home that has everything the way you want it.
Yeah.
How does that process start? Do they give you a call and just say, I'm interested in this? And is it a high pressure situation, or how does that work?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked. I mean, one thing that we try to put as much information in the hands of the consumer as possible. And one thing that we have rolled out is like interactive design plans on our website. So buyers who are maybe a little intimidated, a little scared about the process, they can go to our website and they can actually look at some of our communities. They can pull up our floor plans. They're actually able to modify the floor plans. Click on the third car garage option, click on a fireplace, and they can kind of start seeing the floor plans, come to the vision that they have. And then they can reach out either online, through our sales concierge online, or, call our number and talk to one of our new home specialists. And then they can give them even more information. But yeah, there's definitely no pressure, to buy a new home. I look at it like this: the buyer who calls me up yesterday and says, hey, I want to meet with you, and then signs a contract the next day, almost always change their mind.
Yeah.
That's almost always never a good thing. So we would prefer to take the time. Let's make sure that we've answered all your questions, that all of your expectations are being met, before we even get going on the project. And one of the other things that we try to do too is once a customer does write a contract, we have another meeting where we show them the plans. Hey, is this everything that you thought you were getting in this home, represented on these plans? And that's before we've submitted permitting or anything. That way there's another opportunity just to make sure we're all on the same page, because, we can talk for an hour or several hours and then walk away from that conversation with two different, interpretations. So that's, we try to give every opportunity to make sure we're on the same page as what the buyer's looking for.
Yeah. And that certainly doesn't benefit either party in that situation to be walking away with a different idea. I'm just showing here on the back, on the screen behind me, some of the floor plans. If you go to cajonesinc.com, you can see the design center there and click on that, and you can see floor plans, and you've got 16 floor plans listed right here, that you can look at and go over and kind of peruse. And I would just encourage folks, if you're interested in the conversation, to reach out to CA Jones and see what they can do for you, because you guys, I've loved working with you. I've loved walking through the houses. It's exciting to even see other people making choices about the different finishes in their house. And I certainly, my husband and I hope to build sometime in the near future here. So CA Jones, you again kind of map out the area for me that you have been building homes and where you're expanding right now.
Yeah, well, we've built homes from Valmeyer all the way up the Metro East to Staunton. We're getting ready to build a home in Staunton, and we've built as far east as Breeze. So pretty much the entire Metro East, as far as all the counties, is our area that we build in.
That's fantastic. Well, Mike, it's been a pleasure. If people have questions, I want to encourage them to continue to, if you're catching this on a replay, to comment the questions here after the fact, and we will work hard to make sure we monitor them and get them to the CA Jones folks. If you want to connect with them, encourage you to go to cajonesinc.com, and I'm just going to pull up the contact us page here. You've got a web form that people can fill out back there, and you've got a home specialist phone number, a main office phone number, warranty phone number, email, marketing@cajonesinc.com. Lots of different ways to connect. You guys have been great. And, anything else, Mike, that you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, we appreciate it, Annie. Thank you for the opportunity to talk, and congratulations on your new baby girl.
Yes, thanks. Gonna need a bigger house pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Or consolidate space. Use the space that is provided to me in a smarter fashion. That's what CA Jones has been doing in the houses that I've seen, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
All right. Bye. Thank you.